Welcome back. We're going to go ahead and move into the following eras on our Map It Out strategy. And to start out, what we want to do is go ahead and show the separation of the sections of the U.S. during this time. So what we're going to do, it starts right about here, all right? We're going to go ahead and show the separation of slave territory and, of course, free. And then what we can do is, starting up top around this section, head on down to show the separation of the West, okay? Now, we're going to go ahead and trace in some very important states for our map during this part of the story. We're going to outline Texas, which, if we start here at the point where El Paso is, more or less, we're going to go up for the Panhandle and then down again, and it gets a little bit curvy and around again here. We have another state that we're going to be labeling, which is Oklahoma. More or less, it's going to come around to this corner here and across, okay? You see where the points of the north and west kind of meet on the edge of Oklahoma here. And last but not least, we're going to show the shape of California in the west. So draw a little straight line out. California is kind of a funny looking shape here. Last but not least, we have our Gadsden territory right next to El Paso. So now we've traced some important states, and we can begin our Manifest Destiny portion of our map. We're going to start with the Louisiana Purchase of 1803, which is this territory here. The Louisiana Purchase territory was bought by Thomas Jefferson in 1803, and it included the territory between the Rocky Mountains and the Mississippi River all around, okay? Now, it does include this territory getting control of the New Orleans Harbor, which we've already labeled. This is going to be fertile soil and good climate for growing, just as the South is in the 13 colonies. Slavery is going to spread west with our new territories. Now, with the age of Jackson, we want to show the Trail of Tears. So I'm just going to grab a color, maybe, let's see, this one here. Now, because they found gold in Georgia, okay, which is down here, I'm going to draw a dollar sign. Because they found gold in Georgia, we have the Trail of Tears, my teardrops leading all the way to modern-day Oklahoma, okay? So I'm going to write Trail of Tears. This was the location of the reservation for the Cherokee Native tribe. All right, let's move on to Florida, the territory that Spain gives up because it's just too hard to manage. It's far away from the rest of the Spanish territory at the time. So I'm going to write it with an arrow. I think it's a little bit easier. In 1819, we have the Spanish cession of Florida. Florida is given away or given up by Spain, joining our nation forever down here, okay? Now we're going to move into our story of love lost in the Texas annexation. I'm going to get a different color for this one, maybe pink or red. All right, so in 1845, we have Texas annexation. Annexation just means to add. Remember that Texas had belonged to Mexico for a very long time and now belonged with the U.S., okay? For many reasons, economic reasons mainly. Annexation causes the Mexican-American War. And it's okay if it goes off the map. That's okay. Now we know that there's going to be a bloody war, and at the end of this war we have the Mexican Cession, which is going to include lots of territory over here. Basically, if we are going to show it, it would come down around these different states, okay, including California. I'm going to just shade it in here, okay? It was a lot of land that Mexico gives up after the war. And we're going to label it. We're going to label it the Mexican Cession. And of course, the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo is what was signed to hand over this land. All right. Since we went ahead and added in California, we're going to show that the year after the Mexican Cession, we had the 1849 gold rush. 1849 gold rush, which is really going to increase the population of California so quickly that it becomes a state in 1850. Okay, but we'll talk about that another time. Shade it in a little bit better along the border here. And now let's go ahead and add in our Oregon Territory that was split with Britain. It was split with Britain to avoid further conflict, which I think was a really good idea. So I'm just going to do half and half. Okay, so Oregon is split with Britain. All right. So what we've got so far is a lot of manifest destiny. We're just going to add in a few more details from the Industrial Revolution and immigration, and we'll be done. We talked about the Chinese that came in as immigrants during this time for the gold rush and the West Coast. And we talked about the Irish who came in due to the potato famine. Irish immigrants that worked very closely on the Erie Canal. So I'm going to go ahead and draw some X's to show the Erie Canal. Now my placement isn't exact, but I know there's just a lot of writing here. So I'll just label it down here, the Erie Canal, that man-made river that connects the Great Lakes to the Atlantic and creates a lot of growth in the Northeast. All right, let's see what color we should use next. Let's keep up with this for our factories in the north. Okay, I'm going to show a couple factories here up north. The pollution coming out. Up north is where we had factories and urbanized cities. Down below, we still had the plantations, but we had a very important innovation called the cotton gin. So what I'm going to do is draw a little bit of cotton down here in the south. Okay, I'll just trace it. Okay, we have the cotton gin being used down south where we had a large increase of slaves. Okay, because of the profitability of cotton, we're going to have a skyrocketing of the population of slaves. And last but not least, next to our very important Boston Harbor, we have the textile mill, Lowell, Massachusetts. We'll go ahead and draw a little lady going to work for the first time because that was a major effect of these textile mills, was women joining the workforce. So I'll draw her in with her little dress, and then I'm just going to write it in, textile mills. All right. Now, this is a lot of information, and I mean, we took a lot of time to put it together, but I think it's worth it, especially before a test, to kind of put everything you can remember down on a map so that way you can use it as a resource. Good luck, and you guys have a wonderful day.